We're going to go to Alicia Raimondo from Canada in a second, and if Namit Mehra from India can get ready to go to the lectern for the next question after that. Alicia.
First off, I want to say thank you for your work with vulnerable youth. As a young person who lives with Asperger's, depression, and anxiety, I know what it's like for no one to listen and to seem like nobody cares. So my question to you is what can we do to amplify the voice of youth? Every time I attend an international event, it seems to be similar, albeit awesome and amazing, voices being heard. What can we do to make sure that we are listening to the youth who cannot attend events like this, that we are working on their issues as well?
Good. Good question.
That's a very good question, but it's a two-way traffic. It's a two-way traffic in the sense that the older generation have to engage you and listen to you. You also have to engage the older generation and talk to them. Luckily, you are growing up at a time where young people have lots of knowledge, better education, know a lot about technology, and can talk and make their views heard. I grew up at a time when children were to be seen but not heard. But you notice it didn't stop me. And I'm sure you guys will be talking and we will have to listen. What is also important that with intergenerational dialogue is you, the young people, know and understand things. You understand the world that is being created, the world that is emerging in the future, which some of the older generation do not understand. I mean, when you talk about, let's take manufacturing. People tell you that in 8-10 years, US will be doing its own manufacturing using robotics and 3D printing. And if that were to happen, about 48% of American workers, particularly those with high school education and below, will need new jobs. What happens to the millions of people, workers in China, producing for the US? We are told that with scientific research, and as you know, Google, Microsoft, Apple, they are all into it, that we can extend life for another 30, 40 years. What am I being kept here for another 30, 40 years to do?
I think we can make an exception.
Who's going to look after me? How do we deal with these millions of old people who may not be economically active? What happens to pension schemes and all these things? This is a world that is emerging that we need to think about. You perhaps see it, but do the politicians and the policymakers see it? What plans are they making? Are we focusing on problems of yesterday and today and not looking forward to what is around the corner? And I think with intergenerational dialogue, you can raise this awareness. You can discuss with them. I was at the MIT Media Lab about 2 weeks ago, and I asked the scientists who are doing all sorts of wonderful work, coming up with innovation, are you talking to the policymakers? Are you talking to the politicians about the things that you are coming up that is going to change their world? You know, we are fighting taxi drivers because they are using Uber. But you're going to get to the stage where there will be driverless cars, and Uber is investing in driverless cars. What happens to the drivers? What do you know, these are issues which will require complete social re-engineering, and I'm not sure we are talking about it. And these are some of the areas you should push us and question us, the old generation, that we should focus on the issues of tomorrow, which are your issues, and you are the ones who are going to live with the consequences. And so don't leave it only to the politicians. You should reach out and engage. You have the capacity to do it. So don't sit back and say they are not talking to us. They are not paying attention to us. Make sure they know you are there. Make sure they are paying attention to you. You are leaders, and that's part of leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.